Hey, GLaDOS, what's pot assassin, pot crazy artificial intelligence, and completely awesome?
I have no idea.
This interview on tinktink.org, that's what.
Tinktink.org. I hope cake and grief counseling will be had after.
We can only hope.
Hey everybody, this is Josh Wilson with tinktink.org, here today with Mr. John Patrick Lowrie and his wife, Miss Ellen McLain. How are y'all doing today?
We're very well. Thank you very much.
We're doing great. It's kind of a great day in Seattle, but we're doing fine.
What you eating there, John? It looks delicious.
It's a slice of cheese and a couple of crackers. I'll be through with it pretty soon.
Nice.
I want to give the interview a little bit of cash, you know.
Yes. All right, so John, you've been in a lot of games like The Suffering, No One Lives Forever, Infamous, Half-Life 2, The Matrix Online, Team Fortress 2, Halo ODST, Dota 2. I mean, you got a pretty nice little list there. And Ellen, have you only been in Valve games before?
I have actually been in other games.
Really?
But I'm known for the Valve games.
All right, well, in case any of you other people don't know, she's been Half-Life 2, Episode 1 and 2, Portal 2, and Team Fortress 2. All right.
And we were both on Left 4 Dead, which is a lesser known fact.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We're the bickering married couple at the end of Left 4 Dead. When you've killed all the zombies and you hear a radio that this guy has a boat on the river and he can pick you up. That's me, and Ellen's in the background saying, "No, don't pick him up. There's zombies every place." So
I do believe you were in the Navy, and Ellen, I think you still are. You're like an opera singer. How did y'all get involved doing voiceovers for games?
Well, John was first, so I'll let him tell you.
Well, I started out as a composer and a guitarist, and I got a job playing a European tour of a Broadway show back in the 80s, and that's where I met Ellen. It was in Europe, and she told me that I should be an actor. I mean, I've always been. My first acting gig was in first grade, where they made me the narrator of the Christmas pageant. But
they made him the narrator because he already had a bass voice.
Yeah, my voice has always sounded like this.
And the teacher didn't want him to sing with the other little kids because he was singing an octave below everyone else.
Right. But anyway, when I was getting my master's degree at Indiana University, I got a job as a DJ on the local NPR station, and recorded some radio commercials and stuff. And Ellen got a job there as well and recorded some commercials as well. And then when we went out to Seattle, when we moved here, I went ahead and put together a voice demo and got an agent and started doing voiceover work and on camera work too. This was before computer games really existed. So when the industry started up here in Seattle, Sierra Online was up here, and Humongous and a few others. They started sending auditions to my agent, and he called me in, and I auditioned and got the job. I mean, it's really as simple as how it happened.
And then in 2002,
after I had abused her for 8 years to get her own voice demo,
I finally got a voice demo, and
look where that took you.
and then I got a voice demo, and got an agent, same agent, nepotism, and started doing auditions for games as well.
And the funny thing is that I'd done quite a few games before Valve ever hired me, but they hired me for Half-Life 2, and then they hired Ellen for Half-Life 2 to play Overwatch. And they had no idea that we were married to each other because she goes by Ellen McLain and I go by John Patrick Lowrie.
Honestly, I had no idea until I contacted you, but they had no idea you were married to Ellen. And I was like, bonus.
I know. People think it's very, very cool to be married to GLaDOS, so that's a great compliment. But yeah, we were working along, and then we were doing episode 1, and they still didn't know we were married. And I think it wasn't until we were doing Team Fortress 2 that they called us in on consecutive sessions into the studio on the same day. And I think Ellen was first, and she came in and she said, "You're going to be working with my husband later." And they said, "Who's your husband?" And she told them, and they had no idea. So, and then after Ellen got famous as GLaDOS, and it kind of got out on the web. I mean, you don't know it, but a lot of people kind of found out that we were married. And so I think that's why Valve thought it would be funny if they brought us in as the bickering married couple at the end of Left 4 Dead.
How has that been being being married and being voice actors together? Any perks? Is it horrible? I mean, how is that working for you?
Well, I think that I mean, since we have both been able to actually make enough money to actually pay the rent and keep our bills paid and keep food in the refrigerator, it's been okay, and it actually helps when two people in the arts are married to each other because they understand how the arts work. They understand that you're not always going to be employed, that that your income is going to go up and down and stuff like that. And so I think that some people have problems when one person is an actor and one person that has a regular job, that the person with the regular job starts to feel like the actor doesn't really work for a living and stuff like that. And we really understand that about each other. That
So we realize that neither of us really work for a living.
that's right. We're both just bums, and we're adjusted to it.
Well, speaking of recording voices in Valve, have y'all recorded anything for Half-Life 2 Episode 3 or Half-Life 3, perhaps?
What an interesting question.
I will tell you that those titles are being discussed at Valve, and that's really all I can say. I can tell you that we have not been in the studio working on those titles. So I wish I had more to offer the fans. At this point, it's still in the talking about it stage.
And really, we don't know anything until we are actually called to go into the studio.
Right.
And then when we arrive at the studio, the copy for whatever we're doing is put in front of us, and we read it. And that's when we learn for sure. Other than that, we don't really know anything for sure.
So I think, John, The Lord of the Rings, The War in the North, and Dota 2, those are two games that are upcoming. Are y'all involved in any other new unannounced type of project? Not necessarily from Valve, but just anybody in general?
I'm on two other games in development with Warner Brothers, very early stages of development. And I've auditioned for another game for Bungie, but I haven't heard back from them yet. But there's a lot of activity going on up here. And Ellen is on she's going to be in Dota 2 as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry I left you out there.
I think. I'm not sure. No, you're not? Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know. We don't talk to each other, so I never know what's going on. But yeah, those are. I mean, to be in. I mean, Dota 2 hasn't come out yet. I mean, it's still kind of coming out as we speak. So that's one game in development and two other games in development. To be in three games at the same time is nice. I mean, I'm usually in a couple at a time, but this is the first time I've actually been in three at once. So.
All right, John. So I want to say you're most recognized for being the sniper in Team Fortress 2.
Huh?
How did you land that gig, man? I mean, I'm assuming you're not Australian, so they're like you play on.
Well, I mean, a lot of us voice actors do a lot of dialect work, and they just send out auditions, and really, I mean, that's what happened. They sent out the audition, and they hired me to do the sniper. I think I actually auditioned for maybe 4 of the characters, maybe even more than that. And my friend Jim French got the which one is he? No, he's not in Team Fortress 2. But my friend Dennis Bateman got the scout and the spy, I think. My friend Gary Schwartz got the heavy. And I think I know one other actor on there. So, it's a fairly small community up here. We kind of tend to all know each other. But really, I mean, how it works, it's like getting into any play or a movie or a television show or anything else. They send out auditions and you audition, and if they like your work, they hire you.
Speaking of plays, how was it like going from a coach? You were in High School Musical, I do believe.
Yes.
High School Musical to Deadly Assassin Killer.
Deadly Assassin. Well, the nice thing about voice work is that I can play young, I can play old, I can play fat, I can play skinny, I can play bald, I can play hairy, because all they're doing, you just hear my voice and it can fit to any kind of animated character they want to put it to. When I'm acting on stage or acting on camera, I'm pretty much me. It's got to be a character that looks pretty much like me. And so that's the nice thing about voice work is that can be Australian, I can be an old German, I can be a young guy from New York, I can, I can be somebody from Middle Earth. It's wonderful that way. Um, I mean, doing High School Musical was great. I mean, it's one of those what we call country club parts because basically all the kids just sing and dance, 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 sing and dance. Then I come out and be mean. Then the kids sing and dance, 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 and then I come out and be mean again. And it was a very easy job, but it was fun.
Ellen, you, I'm assuming, are most recognized for GLaDOS in Portal 2. I mean, she's kind of become really popular, in case you didn't know this. How has it been being associated with that character?
Well, I think both Portal games are very, very clever. I think, the first Portal game was a wonderful surprise to everyone that it, became such a hit. And I think Valve took great care when they created Portal 2 because expectations were very, very high because everyone had loved Portal. And everyone worked very hard on Portal 2. And of course, it's a much longer game than Portal. And I just feel very lucky that I had the opportunity to work on those games. Just, big surprise to me, someone who's always done opera and music theater, and, really just completely a surprise that I would be on something so popular with the younger generation.
And it's been great for us. We just got back from Geek Media Expo in Nashville, Tennessee, where we spent a weekend, 3 days with fans. And, the fans are just as sweet and nice as they can be. I told this to many people there, and we were at SiegeCon a couple of weeks earlier in Atlanta, and at Anime Midwest in Chicago last summer. But people who are into these games and into anime and stuff are just the happiest, friendliest, nicest people you'd ever want to meet, and they're very energetic and very creative. We were always just blown away by the fan art that people give us, and the level of skill that goes into making the costumes, and the level of the writing that goes into making some of the jokes. I mean, some of the stuff that comes up on the web, the mods and stuff like that, are just incredibly creative and inventive, and it's been very nice for both of us to just be a part of that whole energy.
So, are y'all gamers? Do y'all play games? Do y'all play each other's games? Your own games? Any games at all?
I play Scrabble. Play Klondike 3 on my iPhone. And John plays games.
Yeah, I started out playing the Myst games, which I just totally love. But I'm on a Mac, so a lot of games I can't play, and a lot of the games that I've made I've never played because they're PC-based or Xbox-based or PlayStation or something like that, some platform that I don't have. When a couple years ago, Steam was available on Mac, and so since then I've played Half-Life 2 and Episode 1 and most of Episode 2, and I've played Portal and Portal 2, but I'm still in the middle of both of those. And I've dabbled in Left 4 Dead and Team Fortress 2. But I enjoy them, yeah.
Pretty well-rounded in the Valve department, I see. Right. So, you have anything to say you'd like to say to the fans, perhaps?
Well, you're great. We love you. We love meeting you. I think that we just have a feeling that if you guys are the future of the human race is in good hands. We're just the level of creativity and energy and intelligence is just wonderful to see.
I concur.
She concurs. She says things like that. She's an opposite.
Big smart word there.
That's right.
Right. So, last question we have for you is, give me the date when Half-Life 2 Episode 3 is coming out.
Cool.
Good question.
I don't date anymore. I'm married, so I don't really have a whole lot to do with dates.
We don't know. We don't know. Have no idea.
Nobody knows. I don't even think Valve knows.
That's right.
All right. Well, go ahead.
I do have one date for you. I released my novel, science fiction novel, Dancing with Eternity, on September 1st. And if you haven't read it yet, you're just not cool yet.
Not yet.
You need
Dancing with Eternity has been named by Fantasy Book Critic one of the top 10 new novels of 2011. And even though I'm married to John, I still say it's a wonderful book.
Yeah, it's been really getting great reviews, and like I say, it turns out, and this was a totally unknown, unpredicted consequence of writing the book, that if you haven't read it yet, you're just not cool, and you will never find a girlfriend, you will never find happiness until you read this book. Something completely
Dancing with
unintentional.
Eternity. Dancing
But
with
you
Eternity.
can find it on Amazon.com and on Barnes and Noble, and at various bookstores around the country too. But I just plea with the fans to please read this and save themselves from being uncool and unhappy and miserable for the rest of their lives. It's
There's several fascinating reader reviews on
You can tell
Amazon.com.
she just doesn't into this improv at all. She doesn't improv with me at all. But I'm waiting for you to say something.
Just get out there, people, and buy it, okay? Even if you're blind, I don't care. Just buy it. It's good. I haven't read it, but it's good.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you. This has been John Patrick Lowrie and Ella McLain here today with me, Josh Wilson, for TinkTink.org interviews, and thanks for watching.